Hi, in today's video, I'll be showing you how to open a new account in Admire. An account is an entity of information about something or somebody associated with your organization. Generally, it's a teacher, a student, parent, or a donor, but could also be a company or anybody that your organization does business with. Let's get started. In Admire, go to Accounts, New Account. Over here, we'll fill in information about the account that we're trying to open. At the top, we have account type, and we can choose from this drop-down menu to note whether it's a business account, a government account, a personal account, or other. In this case, I'll leave it as a personal account. If it was a business name or an organization, I would type in company name here, but since that's not what we're discussing, I'll leave that blank. I'm going to type in the last name, Stern. Now I'm going to enter in his title. I can either choose from the drop-down menu or type it in. In this case, I will use Rabbi. His name, Yechiel. I can put an initial if I wanted to. And I can also choose whether or not this part is inactive, but in our case, it's definitely active, so I will leave it as so. I will choose from her title, Mrs. Shana. Initial. I could also choose whether it's inactive. And I could flip the order by clicking this button if I by accident typed in the names wrong. As you can see, it swaps between his name and her name by swapping it over here. If you by accident enter it wrong, you have this option to quickly switch that back. Now, what happens if Mrs. Stern actually goes by her maiden name? Well, we can then check this checkbox over here and then enter in her maiden name, which is Cohen. And then every time we would generate anything from this account, it would show up with Mrs. Shana Cohen as opposed to Mrs. Shana Stern. But in this case, I'm going to uncheck that so it will show up properly. I'm going to choose to create primary individuals, which will add both Rabbi Yechiel and Mrs. Shana as two primary individuals for this account, and we'll see that after we complete the account. I'm going to choose his occupation, which is a third grade Rebbe. I'm going to type her education, which is secretary. Now, I can choose to add this account to an association. In brief, and we'll touch on this more in another video, associations are a way of grouping certain accounts together. So let's say, for example, you're honoring Mr. Pliny Almani at the dinner, and he gives you a list of people that are connected to him, and you want to know that these accounts in your system are connected to Pliny Almani's list. You can create an association that's called Pliny Almani's list and add all accounts to that association. We're not going to touch on this in this video, and we're going to leave it blank, but you can always add that in later, or you can choose from this drop-down menu here and attach it to whichever association you want. Now we're going to type in the address. Now, there are different types of addresses. You can have home, you can have main, parents, summer, work, or you can even change these in Admire, but we're going to leave it at home. Now, Admire has this nifty little feature here that if you type in the address and the zip code, it will automatically populate it for you. So I'm going to type in 34 East End Street 08701 and hit tab. And as you'll see here, it fully adds it in. It has 34 East End Street, Lakewood, New Jersey 08701. Now I can choose to do the same by adding more. An address in the country, for example, if I wanted to do that, but in this case I'm just going to hit X and close it out. Over here in this section we type in phone and contact information, so I'll type in the phone number 732-901-5566, and we could type in the work number if we have it, or their cell phone number. I'm going to type in for sale 848-965-9632. And I will type in their email address, and all this is obviously made up. I'll type in ystern@gmail.com. Now I could also choose to add more. I could also choose to add more by hitting the add more button, and I can choose this as another email for her email, which I would type in stern@gmail.com. And because Mrs. Stern gets the emails in the house, I will choose that as the default one. Now, before I hit add new, I want to search our database to make sure that there is no other account already with this information. This will make sure that there are no duplicates and therefore would muddy up our database. I'm going to hit search, and it will load all Stern accounts in our database. As you can see, I have Yehuda Tzvi, Yona, and Yocheved, Yosef and Bli Mechaya, Avram and Shani, etc. But what I don't have is Yechiel and Shana. So therefore, I am confident that I can add a new account by hitting the Add New button. And now you see the account information loaded in the account window. As you can see here, the account type is personal, the last name is Stern, the titles, the names, their occupations, whether or not they're inactive. We can choose whether it uses his name or use maiden name, which is Cohn, but in this case, anyway, it's used as his name. We can have that checked. We can put in any sort of notes, the donor class, and because we chose her email as the main email, that is the one that shows up over here. At the top, we have the two primary individuals in the account. We have Shana Stern and Yechiel Stern. We have their address, their phone numbers, and their email addresses as well. We can see over here their contact information. We can see contact logs over here, scheduled correspondence, associations, participations, pledges, payments, solicitors, and more details. But because we don't have any of this filled in yet, it will all be blank. But we can always go ahead and add in all this information, such as the shul, the hobbies from current level, etc. Any other information that your organization would require so that you can be on top of all the different people and accounts in Admire. Thank you for watching. We here at Admire Academy are constantly creating new video content for you so that you can learn how to use the software to your fullest of capabilities. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.